Hi, what's up, Cam?
What happened?
Basically, I was covering this beginning of this rally here outside of City Hall, and three Antifa activists started swarming at me. One of the guys grabbed my shoulders. I just cleared the area, and thank God there are tons of officers, and it looks like they just made the arrest. And I got it all on video, of course.
Good.
And the far left activists are blaming me. Imagine if I didn't have video. If I didn't have video rolling all the time, I could be getting locked up right now.
Seattle is seeing more violence, as you just saw from this gentleman, Andy No. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name properly. I'm a redneck. You'll have to pardon me. He was filming what was going on at the Seattle courthouse today, and he was attacked. You see that. On top of this, the FBI, as you're looking above, the FBI deputy director has come out and said, Dan Bongino, that is, we have asked our team to fully investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups at the Seattle concert. Freedom of religion isn't a suggestion. Wow. So, all of this that happened at that rally, the religious rally at the Cal Anderson Park. Now, they held a protest today at the courthouse. More people were arrested for attacking this religious group. They're saying 6 to 8 people, most of them are saying 8, that came to counter-protest the religious folks that were protesting what was going on in Seattle. So, let's let you see some news here. The first one is what happened there, and then the next is a short clip of them announcing out of News Nation that they're going to be investigating this. Also, if you want to keep up with news like this, hey, hit like, subscribe, share. I'm trying to get my hours up. Also, if you want to communicate with me more, I've got a link tree down below that's got my Facebook and MeWe. So, let's get into this.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us for ARC Seattle at 10. I'm Steve Solis. Saturday's violent protests at Cal Anderson Park spilling over into the week. Today, a religious group rallied outside Seattle City Hall. The group is pushing back against comments made by Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell. Mayor Harrell called one group on Saturday far right. During today's protest, we saw at least 8 protesters arrested. Tonight, the deputy director of the FBI is speaking out about those recent protests. He posted this statement on X saying, "We have asked our team to fully investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups at the Seattle concert. Freedom of religion isn't a suggestion." Despite more clashing and arrests, Seattle police say no one was hurt in the altercation. Our Jackie Kent was there tonight as all of this unfolded. She joins us live. So, Jackie, what happened during tonight's latest protest?
And Steve, this lasted hours. 2 groups clashing outside Seattle City Hall. One religious group is criticizing the actions of the city and the mayor in terms of how they handled the unrest at Cal Anderson Park in Seattle's Capitol Hill over the weekend. There were 23 arrests when a group of LGBTQ protesters interrupted a rally being held by the anti-abortion group Mayday USA. Meanwhile, out here, counter-protesters say they believe the messaging we heard from that religious group on the steps today and from the group on Saturday is hateful. And they believe this group is not only anti-abortion, but also anti-LGBTQ. We saw a lot of arrests today. You mentioned those 8 arrests for assault. We also saw a lot of clashes. For example, one family tried to get into that religious rally, tried walking through a group of counter-protesters. It didn't take long for police to step in to try to assist them. Police, by the time this event ended, they created a clear exit for that religious group to get through. We didn't see any violent confrontations between the two sides. They both ultimately, after this was all over, told me they still plan to continue spreading their message.
So, Jackie, I know this just wrapped up just minutes ago. Do we know quite yet what's happening with those who were arrested, and are there any more protests planned?
So the 8 people arrested for assault we expect will be in court tomorrow. So, of course, we'll stay on that. We'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. We have not heard of any additional protests at this time. Okay,
Jackie Kent live for us in Seattle. Jackie, thank you. Tonight, the social media posts from the FBI's deputy director that promises a full investigation about allegations of targeted violence against religious groups in Seattle. Well, that's getting considerable engagement on social media. Many people in the comments agree, like this, one that reads, "Thank you, Director Bongino. We are begging for federal intervention." Meantime, one comment of disapproval reads, "Freedom of religion cannot be used as a shield to justify discrimination or fanaticism. Sometimes invoking rights is merely a strategy to protect ideological privileges." Okay, so today's protest follows that violent outbreak at Cal Anderson Park on Saturday. We know that the pro-Christian values group called Mayday USA was holding a rally at that park. That is when counter-protesters showed up and tensions began to rise. Witnesses say things were thrown between the groups that eventually Seattle police showed up to defuse the situation. We know 23 people were arrested, and 7 of the arrested protesters went before a judge yesterday. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell condemned the violence, saying that Washington State is a welcoming place for everyone. So that brings us to tonight's Pulse poll, and this is the question we are asking you this evening. Should Mayor Harrell apologize to the religious group behind Saturday's protest? This is a live look at the results still coming in tonight. Right now, 79% of you say yes, while 21% of you say no. To vote, just scan the code you see on your screen. We'll be sure to bring you the latest results coming up later in the show.
This just in, breaking news tonight right here at the Live Desk. The FBI's deputy director just announcing minutes ago the agency will investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups regarding a chaotic rally in Seattle over the weekend. That's the video there. 23 people were arrested when LGBTQ plus protesters clashed with a Christian pro-life group at a local park. Dan Bongino stating here on X tonight, quote, "We have asked our team to fully investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups at the Seattle concert. Freedom of religion isn't a suggestion." Stay with us. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
You saw all of that. Now, Mayor Bruce Harrell is saying he's condemning the violence at the Capitol Hill rally. He's vowing to uphold LGBTQ plus values in all of this. Well, not only is that happening, like I said, 8 people were arrested. Okay, competing protests squared off again Tuesday evening, this time in front of the Seattle City Hall after a similar clash led to 23 arrests over the weekend at Cal Anderson Park. Seattle police kept the 2 groups at a distance Tuesday amid high tensions. In the end, officers arrested 8 more protesters for investigation of assault. Now, Seattle Times are calling these folks that are in support of religious freedom far-right activists. That is getting on my nerves. Folks that are supporting religious freedom in this country are not far-right activists. They're not even right activists. They're constitutional activists. Enmeshed with local church groups, stand at odds with the slate of protesters pushing back against the Christian nationalist anti-LGBTQ plus message. The groups faced each other on Saturday on Capitol Hill. Okay. About 500 people showed up, gathered to represent the religious group. This was Tuesday. These 500 people showed up to represent Mayday USA for the Don't Mess With Our Kids rally that they held, calling on Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell to step down over a statement that labeled them extreme right-wing antagonists. Around 4 p.m. Tuesday at the City Hall, King County Republican Party also sent out an email that that morning, urging people to show up. Another 250 people came to counter-protest. It appeared to be about two-thirds turnout of the protest over the weekend. The religious group arrived downtown first, finding a section of 4th Avenue barricaded. They occupied the space behind the barricade. So, see, they were even helping out with the police to be able to make sure that the police set this up. And they went, okay, well, we're here to protest, but we're not here to be violent. So they did what they were supposed to do. They occupied the space behind the barricade and blocked exits with their private security backed up by Seattle police officers controlling the flow of people allowed onto the steps of City Hall. So they're being peaceful. They're, abiding by what the Seattle police are wanting done. So it just so happened that this group came and set up their sound equipment and occupied the area first. Police held the line at the barricades gathered in large numbers around 4th Avenue and Cherry Street to keep the counter-protest out. This drew swift condemnation from the secular group who blocked the intersection. They were shouting, "Trans rights are human rights, respect my existence or expect my resistance." Many tried to make their way onto the steps of City Hall. Once denied, they shouted at police and private security, asking what right they had to block the public space. Apparently, they get to be right inside next to the mayor, but we have to be outside, Randall said. A.J. Randall said, who was shouting cuss words at the at everything. At least 5 more protesters who oppose the religious freedom group had been detained by 5:40 p.m. At one point, police escorted a group of attendees through the crowd. The religious freedom activists were getting called fascist. In a speech, Pastor Russell Johnson of the Pursuit NW non-denominational church praised Seattle police and said the department had been wonderful to work with. Wearing what appeared to be a MAGA hat, he led the crowd in a chant of SPD, SPD, SPD. So this is what happened. You've got religious folks that are doing what they need to do because they believe in the Constitution. And they're even working with the authorities to make sure that the authorities know that they are just there to do their protesting. They have a valid reason to protest. Hey, you've got the FBI now going to be investigating this. And they are getting attacked. Journalists who are trying to watch what's going on, to record what is going on, are getting attacked. So tell me, who do you think's in the right in all this? This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.
So folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.